Hi, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I can see a lovely gathering here, and thank you for being so patient. Another 10 minutes, and we'll be starting the event. A very, very good afternoon to everybody. To begin with, of course, all the audience who are watching us online, all the leaders, the experts, and the guests who have joined us today here in Gurugram. Now, let me begin with a shlok from Manusmriti. Yatra naryastu pujyante, ramante tatra devta. That means where women are worshipped, respected, divinity prevails. I, Divya, on behalf of Times of India, welcome you all to the Right to Excellence Women's Day Special Summit. Now, International Women's Day holds immense significance as a global observance that celebrates the social, economic, cultural, and political achievements of women. Now, right to is not just a concept. It's a movement powered by the spirit of excellence and empowerment, proudly backed by the legacy of the Times of India with a rich history of informing, inspiring, and uniting people. Times of India, through this summit, aims to relentlessly pursue the cause of gender equality, recognition of women's achievements, and a call to action for a more inclusive world. It is with great honor and privilege that I now welcome on stage Mr. Prasad Sanyal, the business head of timesofIndia.com, to set the tone of the summit and share the opening address.
Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome to each and every one of you at the Times of India Right to Excellence Women's Day Summit. Harnessing the spirit of International Women's Day, which is tomorrow, our summit today is a tribute to the strength and resilience of women who have scaled great heights and conquered new milestones. It reinforces Times of India's commitment to creating a more inclusive and equitable future. Today, we are privileged to have in our midst several successful and very distinguished women who have established a name for themselves while proving that nothing is impossible. I'm sure that our exciting lineup of panelists will unveil stories of achievement, hope, and empowerment. From entrepreneurship to politics, women have ascended to the top of fields, and during the course of today's summit, you will no doubt listen to first-hand experiences of such achievers and leaders. Every speaker present here today serves as a role model for several younger women looking to realize their dreams. So without further ado, let's get this evening started. Let's get ready to celebrate women and their indomitable spirit and listen to their stories of change, rebellion, and success. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sanyal. And International Women's Day stands as a beacon of recognition, empowerment, and advocacy for women's rights worldwide. Each year, on March 8th, it serves as a powerful reminder of the ongoing journey towards gender equality and the invaluable contributions of women to society. From celebrating achievements to raising awareness about persistent challenges, Women's Day fosters solidarity, inspires action, and amplifies the voices of women from all walks of life. It is a day to honor the resilience, the courage, and the determination of women while reaffirming the collective commitment to create a more just, inclusive, and equitable world for present and future generations. On this note, I would like to call upon a great personality from our times. I have to accept that I have been fangirling over her immensely, and it is not about today. It goes back to a couple of decades back when I was in school, and we were all, huddled up in a bus, and we were taken to Siri Fort. And who was coming to talk there? It was none other than Ma'am Kiran Bedi, and I remember I had gone back, not just me, all my friends, boys and girls, we had gone back and something had changed within us. So I think these are the true influencers who have always been there before social media was also there, and they have been touching upon lives of each and everybody. Not only the women, not only the daughters, but even fathers, even the husbands, and setting an example. So ma'am, let me please invite you on stage. Welcome, please, gentlemen and women, put your hands together for Kiran Bedi, former IPS Lieutenant Governor of Puducherry, author and Magsaysay Awardee. A loud warm of applause, please.
It's been quite a nightmare driving to Gurgaon all the way. It's been I think because of Shivratri, also tomorrow they've closed something which is a vital highway portion. Did you all experience the same way? Oh my God, we've all suffered it. So can you make a headline in Times of India tomorrow? These are the inconveniences which make headlines. I don't know how we have to marry the two together, religion and highways. Let me go to, I think the center of the place is better. This is, checking 1, 2, 3, yeah. Now, I have to make a request and an appeal. My second event is with the ambassador of Netherlands. And I have to rush back after this, if you permit me. Otherwise, I was late here, I'm going to be late there as well. So I'll lose my good reputation of being punctual. So if you let me know, let me go after I finish with some thoughts I have in mind. Is that okay? Thank you so much. Let me begin by saying thank you to Niti, because of whom I'm here and I've suffered. Where's she? She owes me lots of, where's she? You owe me lots of good black chocolates. Thank you, Niti. She and I got talking and she said, no, I don't want a fireside chat from you. I want a little keynote. So fireside chat would have been so easy. फटाफट हो गया, जो आता है आ गया, लेकिन इसके लिए तो तैयारी करनी पड़ेगी ना, keynote के लिए. This is what I did. Do we have a little table I can keep my paper on? Huh? Sit there, तो फिर I will not be able to see you.
There we go. Hold on, ma'am. I'll do this.
Right in the center.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Chair won't help. I have to stand on the chair. No. काम बनेगा नहीं. Can you hold the mic for me? Or you give me a collar mic? Or hold the mic for me?
I'll hold the mic. It's a privilege to hold the mic.
Okay, so Niti, I want to begin by saying thank you to you. ऐसे. ठीक है? और भी आगे.
ठीक है?
हाँ. ठीक है. Now, friends, these are my thoughts for you. Look, we are all united. Why? By our biology. The factor all women in India, around the world, are united by biology. We share all the same kind of biology, but actually we are not united. Biologically, yet, but sociologically not. When I said, thinking about, can I group all women? It's a Women's Day. But which women? Which category? Which geography? Now hold this paper. Which geography? Which area? Which section? You know? So there are segments and segments. So I divided them into 3 segments, friends, for you. One is, yeah, just keep this. You have the haves, which is you and me. We could afford to come all the way from Gurgaon, be driven, have a driver, could pay for the transportation, and have the luxury of being here at the Crown Plaza. These are called the haves. So we are united biologically, yes, but we are the have category. Secondly, friends, we have the having haves, receiving haves. And if you see the Government of India schemes, it's all receiving haves. All the freebies which are coming, which you call freebies, actually are needed by these developing haves, called the second section. And that's why the Ujwala scheme, the Swachh Bharat scheme, the free Anand scheme, or the Mudra scheme, all these are those to actually bring them from the have-not category. But they're not, they're biologically like us, but they are not sociologically in the same category. So if we start bracketing the have-nots and the having and the haves, I think we will probably be depriving these basic sections of society. So the needs of the have-nots, the needs of the haves like us, and the needs of having are different. That means you need different kinds of policies to address women's issues if you look at society as a whole, as a confront. Do you agree? Yes. So keep that in mind that we are the haves, the have-nots, and the having. Therefore, as I said, the needs are different. Now I'm going to come straight to the have, because I'm not in the have-nots, in the having category right now. In the have category, you and I are looking for what? We're not looking for equality. We're looking for equity now. Give us justice. Give us justice on merit. Not give us. We need. It's our right, as it said. It's our right to be earning our positions by merit. Or, if we're working equally, we must be paid equally. I saw just now at Times of India where it shows there was a big difference between equal pay on certain jobs. So we are looking for equity. But you remember when I'm talking for equity, in 2007, when I was fully eligible to be the police commissioner of Delhi, I had 3 years to my credit, I had 5 outstanding reports, and I was the senior most. And guess what? Yours truly was overlooked to be even the police commissioner by the establishment of that time. This is what they dared to do in an open society like this. So we are looking for equity. That time, what was denied to me was not equality, because I was already equal in my uniform service. But what was denied to me was justice, equity. That's what we're looking for at the moment. And also, do you remember many punishment postings, so-called punishment postings I got? Even the Inspector General Prisons was at that time considered punishment posting. Now it's not a punishment posting. Now it's a holding posting for somebody to become the police commissioner one day. So you park yourself in the prison's assignment till you become the police commissioner. Things are different now. But at that time, being denied and being punished. But the question is, what does a woman do with what she gets? Change. Can you change these as I speak? So what we're really looking for is to be part of our decision-making, policy-making, which we are not yet. We are not yet. Policy-making, decision-making. Can a smarter woman stand next to me?
Ah, perfect. Thank you. Please.
Look at that.
I'll learn too.
Thank you very much. Very
Thank
kind
you.
of you. Very nice.
I'll be learning with you.
Now, see that? You know when to turn. So sweet of you. So now, friends, they're all, see, she can turn the page. She knows when I need to, whereas you couldn't. So now I'm getting the cue. I'm getting the cue from this page. The thought is we are now all over the world. We are in technology, we are in science, we are in Chandraman. Everywhere we are. We are here, everywhere. So we are everywhere today. Nobody can deny us. We are the central police organizations, DGPs. We are in science, technology, corporate, government, you name it. We are everywhere. So what's the problem? Challenge is performance. How do we perform wherever we are? So how do they make, now you hold this. Challenge is their performance. How do we make the me into we? I think that's the male challenge today. And that's what I'm looking for, is a new contribution by women. Is change the male culture of I to we. It's becoming a we. That's what we are looking at, the new performance, because when we are given equal opportunities, we are being educated equally, we are nutritioned equally, then therefore, it's now our duty how we perform and deliver differently. I think that's the challenge which we should take from here, is how do we prove, establish, not because we're in competition with the men, we don't wish to. Because we're not competitors, we are collaborators by birth. We are co-opters by birth. That's a second basic nature. So is how do we make the I into we? So it's not me, it's a we culture. It's that performance. So please take home everywhere. When I was writing my book, Fearless Governance, after my work in Puducherry, my editor had a big challenge. My editor was, she's Aditi Malhotra, and she was the editor of the book. And she says, Kiran, all the time saying, we did it in the book. But this is something what you did. I said, no. There's nothing called I there. It's all we did it. The book, the book I wrote is all we. Because I just cannot take the I in it. But I told Aditi, I said, Aditi, wherever I went wrong, say I. But wherever we went right, say we. Because that's the way I feel comfortable about the culture. So I would say, let's be leaders of care. Let's be LOCs. Let's be different. We are celebrating Women's Day to make the difference, to make the world different. So we are now into female leadership of leaders of care, not leaders of exploitation. So let us all become LOCs and not LOEs, which were leaders of exploitation. But how do we do it? Question was, how do we become leaders of collaboration, leaders of coming together? Is number one, wherever you go, my first message of strategy is, how do you do it? Is number one, is if this situation doesn't suit you and it is not right, change the status quo. Start working on what's not right and start working on a strategy. How do you begin to improve and change the status quo? Don't accept the nonsense as it is. If you feel something is dirty, start getting it cleaned up or cleaning it by taking the leadership. Second is create new work cultures. Wherever you are, if the work culture is not team spirit, the work culture is indifferent, work culture is dishonest, the work culture is silos, start working on work cultures. Work culture, status quo, this is where you will start making the difference as women. I'm giving you all those things which have happened in my life. I would not have succeeded this far. I've not come this far if I had not been against changing status quos. Wherever they were, if it was not welfare-oriented, make it welfare-oriented. If it's not team-oriented, start making it team-oriented. If it's not communicative, start making it communicative. If it's unclean, start making it clean. It will not happen overnight. But you start driving the change. But the question is, why should you do it? Why should you do it? Because you're a woman. You're a woman. You're the new generation. You're the new hope. You're the new light. That is how you and I are still being viewed as the new hope, as the new generation. Because we're all still first generations wherever we are in leadership. So, and wherever the work is not inclusive, make it inclusive, make it empowering. Start strengthening people. Start trusting relationships. Now, how do you start trusting relationships? By letting the message clear, I'm trustworthy, I will honor my word and deed, you honor. And people will start testing you. When you say, I promise to get this done, like for instance, I will look after you, rank and file, if you are capable of doing your work. I will protect you. I will support you. And if somebody makes a genuine error, and your senior tells you, suspend this man or punish him, would you let it happen? You will not. You will come in the way to say, I do know this is a genuine mistake. It was not intentional. This cannot be allowed to happen. He must be given a chance to improve, or the error was not his. The error is probably mine. I guided wrongly, or it was somebody else's, but he or she is not at mistake. It's being protective. That's being trustworthy. That is when people start looking up to you. So the world is looking for a whole new way of performance by men and women, women. Women in the IS, women in the IPS, women in central services, women in bureaucracy, women in security forces are all uniquely different. And expectations from each one of them is also to be trustworthy, to be accessible, to be visible, to be authentic. So friends, this is how they want to be seen, not be like the men not seen. They be visible, not like the puch ke aana, appointment leke aana, whereas the woman can sit with an open house saying, this hour is a free hour, you can meet me. So friends, having open houses, town halls with rank and file. By the way, it's a very interesting article which I read day before yesterday in Times of India it's called the Huang Way. It's an article written by Sujaya Banerjee on Nvidia. This gentleman Huang is the Nvidia CEO. And do you know what he's doing? He's flattened the whole, he's taken away command and control completely, the woman's way. He's taken away command and control and the hierarchies, and he's flattened the top. All 40 seniors directly report to him now. There is no one person. It's a coalition of 40, and he brings these 40 to discuss together. So all 40 are bosses. All 40 are equals. Imagine, that's how the Huang way, and that's exactly, friends, the woman's way. This is actually the female way of leadership, where she brings family together. वो ये नहीं कहेगा ये मेरा लड़का ज़्यादा अच्छा तो लड़की तो बात. Today, an educated woman brings the family together and saying, let's discuss. And old generation was, लड़की तू बाहर बैठ, तेरा काम नहीं है, लड़के का काम है, तो तू यहाँ. No, things have changed. A good woman will, enlightened woman will bring everybody together. That's called the Huang way. Changing the, so it's a flat circus. He's broken hierarchies. This is day before's article, where it's worth reading, written by this late, Sujata Banerjee. Chatterjee? Banerjee. Sujaya Banerjee. Very well written piece. You must read it. It's day before in the Times of India. So you're acting as inspirers, trainers, champions, care providers as per the needs. But do you know what? The real challenge with the haves is, so we don't have a performance channel because we know what to do and we must know what to do. And if we don't do this, the mistake is ours. And we are deficient in this leadership. We are all now trained engineering, management, and we have access to all research and literature on leadership, on everything that innovatively we can do. The ball is in our court to read, to write, to learn, to acquire, to practice, to reflect, and to lead the way. Ball is in our court when it comes to management. So no more complaints, get into the act. But do you know what's coming in our way? Do you know what's coming in our way? Is our homes. Is the way we run our homes. The way we do energy management for ourselves. Where do we spend our energy? Do we overspend at home where things can be delegated? Do we try to be penny wise, pounds foolish, or pounds foolish, penny wise, by not having delegated paid services? That's where we're going wrong. We must earn our time and not burn our time. So wherever you can save your time, go ahead and spend your time. I think the challenge before we have is the way we run our homes. Do we still pamper? Do we still take over too much? Do we not delegate? Do we not groom and train our children to become more self-reliant? Don't we go in for geriatric care, and do we or only sacrifice our own time, instead of getting paid geriatric services? Or we as corporates, forgetting that we owe it to each other, we corporate seniors owe it to the women to provide these services as essential services, and the senior women also look after the junior women if they may be needing it. I give you one example. The other day I found out that women in police office, low ranks, senior ranks find their own way. The low ranks in the police stations would be shocked to know do not have women toilets. Now that's a political challenge I'm giving you.
Already working on.
हाँ, already working नहीं, target बना 1 साल में होने. Okay, 12 minutes रह गए, 10 minutes रह गए, है ना?
नहीं,
हो गया. अच्छा, ज़्यादा हो गया. तो टाइम हो गया.
Ma'am, please continue. On behalf, I'm speaking on behalf of the entire gathering here.
फ्रेंड्स, अब तुम्हारा एक ही चैलेंज रह गया। काम चैलेंज नहीं है आपका, घर चैलेंज है। घर में बच्चे, घर में बूढ़े, और घर में हस्बैंड जो आपके प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं, उनको प्रोजेक्ट मत बनाओ, उनको इक्वल पार्टनर बनाओ। और प्रॉब्लम होती है कि शादी में फैसला नहीं होता। शादी में तो होता है मैं ये सब कुछ, मैं सब कुछ। मैं सब कुछ नहीं हूं जी। इनफैक्ट यू शुड स्टार्ट से मैं सब कुछ, मैं कुछ नहीं हूं, मैं कुछ नहीं हूं। तो भी प्यार करता है तो चले, मैं कुछ नहीं हूं, वो कहे मैं सब कुछ हूं। लेट हिम से मैं सब कुछ हूं, तू कुछ नहीं भी मुझे पसंद है। दैट इज द वे यू शुड से। बट आप वो करो जो आपको अच्छा लगता है, जो आपके पास एनर्जी है। सो फ्रेंड्स, लुक एट योर होम्स and your elders to be taken care of, grooming of your children. Don't start saying, beta, I love you so much. See, I've polished your shoe already, your bed is made, your bag is done, and everything's done. Why not say, hey boy, sees that your shoes are at the right place, they're polished and clean, your books and bag is ready for going, and you make your bed before you get away from your bed. Why can't we do this? Why do we think expressing of love is pampering? Why? On the contrary, real expression of love is grooming the person the right way, to my mind. So friends, remember, your challenge is no more your jobs, because you are exactly as you perform.
मैम, हस्बैंड पुराने वाले मिलते नहीं है तो प्रोजेक्ट ही है आज की डेट में।
Husbands क्या?
पुराने टाइप के हस्बैंड है ही नहीं मैम, सो प्रोजेक्ट है हम सब लोग के लिए हस्बैंड।
तो आपने प्रोजेक्ट बनाया उनको। तुमने प्रोजेक्ट बनाया है, तुमको किसने कहा था उनको प्रोजेक्ट बनाओ? बिगाड़ा तुमने। अब बिगाड़ के कह रहे हो सुधर जाएं, वो तो टेढ़े हो चुके।
मैम, आपके टाइम पे आपने बोला था कि बैंग बैंग इफ यू वांट टू अचीव समथिंग, तो आज वो बैंग बैंग नहीं होता मैम।
कहाँ है
मैम? इधर हूँ मैं।
हाँ बोलो, खड़े होके बोलो।
मैम, आपने एक बार मुझे हैदराबाद में बोला था, इफ यू वांट टू अचीव समथिंग, मैंने आपसे पूछा था आपके हस्बैंड दे वांट, आई मीन यू सेड कि प्रॉस्पेरिटी वाज कमिंग एट होम, बैंग बैंग इफ यू वांट टू अचीव समथिंग। तो मैम, आज की डेट पे अगर बैंग बैंग करो तो हस्बैंड भाग जाते हैं।
भागने दो ना फिर। तुम इतने डिपेंडेंट क्यों हो?
यस मैम।
तुम इंडिपेंडेंट क्यों नहीं हो? अपने तुमने सैलरी कमा ली तो तुम किस बात के लिए डिपेंडेंट हो?
मैम, छोड़ दिया, आपको ही फॉलो किया था आपसे आज।
मैं किसी को कह रही नहीं छोड़ दो, थोड़ा बिगाड़ो। अरे बिगाड़ो मत, बिगाड़ो मत। अगर बिगड़े हुए हैं तो उनको ऑप्शन दे दो।
फ्री कर दिया उनको, जाओ।
सो मेरी व्यू है, आपका मेन चैलेंज।
मैम, जॉब तो दोबारा मिल जाएगी बट हस्बैंड दोबारा नहीं मिलते हैं।
तो फिर फैसला आप करो। देखिए एक बात सुनो, अगर आपने एक मिनट, अगर आपने पढ़ लिख के भी गुलामी करनी है तो फिर उसका कोई फायदा नहीं है।
थैंक यू सो मच।
अगर गुलामी ही तुम्हारी आदत है तो फिर मैं तुम्हारा कोई भला नहीं कर सकती। गुलामी से निकलो। मैं ये नहीं कह रही उनको छोड़ दो, मैं ये कह रही उनको साथ में लेकर चलो, लेकिन उनको भी इंडिपेंडेंट होने दो। उनको भी एक दिन को हफ्ते में आज खाना बना दो, तुम्हारी मर्जी। एक दिन मैं बनाऊंगी, एक दिन तेरी मम्मी बनाएगी, एक दिन तेरी मम्मी बनाएगी, एक दिन तेरे डैडी बनाएंगे, एक दिन तू बनाएगा, एक दिन मैं बनाऊंगा, एक दिन तेरी सिस्टर रहती है ना हमारे साथ, वो बनाएगी। अरे बनाए या ना आए, जोमेटो से ले आओ, लेकिन खाना आएगा, किसी से भी खाना आएगा। तुम क्यों जाके हर टाइम खाना बनाते हो? वाई? तुम नहीं थके हुए? वो अलग बात है कि अगर तुम थेरेपेटिक हो, अगर तुम्हारे लिए मेडिसिनल है खाना बनाना, तो जरूर बनाओ, रोज बनाओ। अरे दूसरों को भी बना दो ना। अगर थेरेपेटिक है तो दूसरों के लिए भी बना दो। लेकिन अगर ये बर्डन है, थेरेपेटिक नहीं है, बर्डन है, तो फिर बांटो। और सी दैट यू हैव समबडी टू हैव कुक्ड फॉर यू एंड यू गो बैक टू अ वार्म मील। ये आपने कमाया है, आप क्यों नहीं इक्विटी मांगते? यही तो इक्विटी है। तुम यहां पर घर में आके सरेंडर नहीं करने आते। एक बात रखना, शादी इज अ मर्जर ऑफ टू इक्वल पार्टनर्स। शादी इज नॉट अ माइग्रेशन, शादी इज अ मर्जर। यू नीड टू कम टुगेदर एज इक्वल पार्टनर्स। अच्छा, नंबर 3, अपने आने वाले बच्चों को, लड़कों और लड़कियों को भी लायक बनाना, ताकि वो गलती वो ना करे जो तुम्हारे फैमिली में हो रही है। So please see that you prepare the next generation, because the same boys will be sons-in-law of somebody, and the same daughters will be daughters-in-law elsewhere. And you will also receive a daughter-in-law, and you will also receive a son-in-law. What kind of sons-in-law and daughters-in-law do you want to receive? That you people have to decide as a society. As a society. So please grow up. If you have all been educated equally, you need to think equally and look at not dependence, but interdependence as companionship. You understand? तुम्हारा challenge एक है, आपको और कुछ भी नहीं चाहिए. आपको अपना काम मिल चुका, काम में अपना तन मन धन लगाओ, लीडरशिप दिखाओ, लोगों की भलाई करो, लोगों को इनाम दो, लोगों को रिकॉग्नाइज करो, लोगों को ट्रेन करो, लोगों को केयर करो. यू विल बी द लीडर्स. यही तो लीडरशिप आप मांगते हैं. कंपैशन मांगता है, काइंडनेस मांगता है, इमोशनल मैनेजमेंट मांगता है, आपकी फिटनेस मांगता है, आपकी हाजिरी मांगता है. ये है काम आप मांगता. अगर ये काम सब दोगे, प्रॉब्लम सिर्फ आपको घर है और कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं. परफेक्ट. बांट लो, बांट लो, बांट लो काम. सारा कुछ आप करो. वो लॉन्ड्री कर दे, तुम कुछ और. लेकिन लॉन्ड्री भी के लिए भी आपको हेल्प मिलती है. अरे वो भी तो पेड हो सकती है. हाँ, टुडे यू आर लकी. वेस्ट में जाओ, सब कुछ खुद करना पड़ेगा. वेस्ट में जाओ, सब कुछ खुद पढ़ना पड़ेगा. वहां ये बात नहीं चलेगी, वहां करना पड़ेगा. उस वक्त तो वीकेंड इसलिए मिलता है, वीकेंड वेस्ट में इसलिए मिलता है कि जाके अपनी फ्रिज साफ करो, लॉन्ड्री करो, आयरनिंग करो, कबर्ड नु ठीक करो, बच्चों नु फैलाओ, और ग्रोसरीज रखो, फ्रिज को स्टैक करो. ये है वीकेंड वहाँ. इसलिए वीकेंड वहाँ प्रेशस है. इधर तो वीकेंड ही है मजेदार. इधर तो आपको होम सपोर्ट भी मिलती है. या है किसको करे? वो ट्रेनिंग स्कूल है. आप रोज बिगाड़ते हो, वो कैसे सुधरेंगे? ये तो शुरुआत, पहले तो शुरुआत आपकी गलत है. और अगर शुरुआत ही गलत है तो उसको सुधारते सुधारते धीरे धीरे. अरे आज इस फंक्शन में जा रहे हो ना, तो थोड़ा सा बदलाव में दिखाने लग जाओ. वो डरेंगे जरूर, लेकिन बोलो ये तो मुझे, मैं तो ओथ लेके आई हूँ कि अब मुझे ऐसे करना है. लेकिन बांट दो, डेलीगेट करो, बच्चों में भी डेलीगेट करो, एल्डर्स में, सो एवरीबडी पार्टिसिपेट्स. सब चीज अपने पर लेके. यू आर अंडर स्ट्रेस्ड. women under at work full time, you are stressed twice over. उधर भी कमा भी रहे हो और इधर काम भी कर रहे हो और थक के सो रहे हो. सबसे बड़ी फेलियर women की ये है कि वो सेल्फ केयर बिल्कुल नहीं कर रहे. आपकी सेल्फ केयर नहीं है. आप अपनी जब तक जवान हो तब तक ठीक हो, लेकिन ज्यादा जरा 45-50 पे आने लगो तो घुटनों की प्रॉब्लम्स, आपकी ब्लड प्रेशर की प्रॉब्लम शुरू हो जाएगी. It's because of this. Please catch it now. Get into self-care. Do your yoga every morning. So put aside an hour for yourself. लेकिन अगर hour मिलेगा ही नहीं, जहाँ सबका ही काम करना है, झाड़ी पोछा भी करना है, लॉन्ड्री भी करनी, ब्रेकफास्ट भी बनाना, टिफिन भी बनाना, कपड़े भी संभालने, उसको शर्ट और पैंट भी बनी बनाई देनी, तो फिर आपको सेल्फ केयर कहाँ मिलेगी? I think the challenge before you is not your jobs anymore. Your jobs are pretty good because you're very good at work. You know your work. When you're not good at work, private sector उड़ा देगा आपको, सरकारी job ही रखेगा आपको. If you're not good at your work in private sector, off you go, isn't it? But if you're good at, even if you're not good at work, then you can stay in government service. They'll tolerate you till you retire. But if you're in, and by and large, women sitting here are in the private sector, aren't you? Then. So juggle these things. Finally, I would say, never limit yourself because of others' limited imagination. सबकी imagination अपनी limited है. अपने आप को limit मत करो. अपनी imagination को सोचो. What can I be? What do I like? What can I do? What am I better at? What is it that what will give me joy? और मैं ये कहूँगी, celebration. Women's Day is a celebration about women not about making women strong. This celebration is not about making women strong. It is about changing the way the world perceives our strength. That's the way. How do the world perceives our strength? And what is our strength? Are we aware of our strength? I think our biggest strength is our human nature. our humanity. Our biggest strength is our emotional quotient. Intelligence quotient to pass kar chuke. Real challenge, real strength of women, which is not the strength of men, is our emotional quotient. And what is emotional quotient? Our compassion, our kindness, our giving, our sense of accommodation, our loving everything what we do, putting our heart and soul in what we do, caring for each other, understanding the suffering of pain. Why do we do? Because we all suffer every month. Through menstruation, nature biologically trains us to suffer pain every month. And very soon, some of you would be going towards menopauses. You'll suffer again. Therefore, remember, be prepared for self-care. So hence, friends, I would say, live your finest, and give your best. And last but not least, to become successful, which I thought for you, is number one, be the champions. Champion of what? Champion of your home. Can be the champion of your home, but champion of the home सबके लिए भागता नहीं है. सब कहते हैं तू भी भाग, तू भी भाग, तू भी भाग. Relay करता है. Be the champions at work, be the champions at home. Stick to your values. अपने values at home and work. Stick to your values. What are your values? अपने बात सोचो. What are your values? Third, know your boundaries. And let others know their boundaries. उनकी boundary क्या है? मम्मी की boundary ये है. Daddy की boundary ये है. ये बच्चों की boundary है. Don't cross the boundaries. Fulfill your boundaries. Now, what are those boundaries? Have family discussions. And do not stop learning. Stop learning means self-care, self-aware. It's not just software, self-aware. Create your positions of self-aware, and that will come through learning. Celebrate your successes professionally and personally, and know your worth outside your work. So I would say that this, thanks a billion, thank you so much, so kind of you, very kind of you. You're such a sport always. I love hearing you, and I love seeing the way you present your thoughts, so maturely, so calculatively. You're an icon of a politician for us. Keep growing. Now, friends, all I'm saying is, get my one bottom line. Work is no more your challenge. You're qualified. Understand that. You're skilled. Understand that. How you use your skill is your nature. Now, is skill ko every day keep refining, you'll keep growing. But if you are happy with where you are, then don't complain. Then don't complain. Because now you are saying, I don't want more. I don't want to transfer. I don't want to go out. Don't complain. But your challenge is when you go home. How do you dinner? First of all, stop your Saturday night dinners. You have a family dinner together. Everybody should know Saturday night or one day in a week, we all children and family must eat together, and they will serve together, clean together, and share together without any iPhones, without any distractions. Try and bring back that family culture back, where you can talk to each other, communicate with each other without any distractions. I think I talked about work culture. I think more than the work culture, we need home culture. And then the children should know, families should know, this is my mummy's self-care time, where mummy will do a yoga. Because if you do not look after your health at this young age, this is the age to become very conscious of your health. Get for regular medical checkups, all parameters, your vitamin levels, so that you remain nutritious. Your nutrition is according to all these things which you require. Health hogi, तो तुम्हारे साथ लोग होंगे. Health नहीं होगी तो अकेले पड़ जाओगे. Everybody else is busy at work. Everybody is busy. If you are not healthy, you will suffer all alone. But if you are healthy, you will be able to take care of others as well. And to be healthy, you have to do self-care. And self-care means time to yourself, nutrition to yourself. It's mental, physical, spiritual, social health. And your networking, where your friends can be your best support to each other. I think this Women's Year, this Women's Day celebration, we must move towards greater self-care and self-aware. Once we do self-care and self-aware, this goes to work and this goes to homes also. Friends, this is all I can share right now. There's so much one can, but I think there's a limitation. You've got great many speakers who will now contribute more. You chase me while getting into the car, I'll sign. Slip out if you want it. Slip out, I'll give it to you. But just move out. As I go out, I'll sign for you. मैं करूंगी ना जाते जाते मैं जाते जाते कर दूंगी. अरे 2 मिनट ऐसे. और कोई बात? हाँ. क्या करा? Yeah, that's right.
Ma'am, I'll just repeat what I said. I was in 5th standard when you had, when in our school, Carmel Convent, we donated books to
for
prisoners. And that was the first time I realized that prisoners are human beings.
That is when I changed the status quo.
You changed
inside
the status quo. And I have been in the industry for 20 years. And last year, I'm trying to change the status quo by starting my own company.
और
And
पता
you are
कैसे
an
चलता है? What's
inspiration.
wrong? When you walk your streets, when
Yes,
you
ma'am.
walk your work,
Yes,
when you
ma'am.
observe your work, you walk the shop floor. Shop floors. If you're in HR, keep meeting people. अपनी offices में round लिया करो. Keep your office door open. Visitor hour, free visitor hour. See the change.
Yes,
They'll
ma'am.
say ये ज़रूर महिला होगी. Must be a female officer जिसने कह दिया not appointment के बिना भी आ सकते हो. That's the reputation we should spread.
Thank you, ma'am, for being an inspiration.
Good. Quickly, take the mic. Quickly. The following speakers have to excuse me and pardon me for having
Pardon me as
exceeded.
well, because ma'am, I'm a master's in law and I'm a LLM, master's in the law.
So well qualified.
I did my thesis on prisoners.
Wow.
So I visited jail, Tihar jail, and I visited other premises as well. And I have met all the Kedis and
Yes,
also when I was practicing in T. Hazari, there were a lot of famous cases which I dealt with. So all I want to do something, but yes, as you mentioned, due to geriatric care at home, I was stuck. I'm married to a lovely family, to a lovely man.
But geriatric care is very good karma. Remember,
It's a
geriatric
karma,
care is
yes.
good karma. Focus that and put love into it.
Yes.
That's very good care. दूसरे बूढ़े को जाके ठीक करना, अपने बूढ़े को क्यों ना करें? है ना?
हाँ जी,
So
ma'am.
just do it with love. That's your care. That's your good karma. No harm. That means you got social service beyond your own work at home itself. और क्या चाहिए? दूर भी नहीं जाना पड़ता.
मैम प्रोफेशन भी चाहिए अब.
Profession नहीं करते क्या?
I was a corporate lawyer.
No, अभी क्या कर रहे हो?
अभी कुछ नहीं कर रही.
तो अभी ऑनलाइन करो काम. तुम लॉ डिग्री करिए.
मैंने
Open up your
international
online.
काम- I was
अच्छा,
a
now
legal
counseling.
counsel
She
for-
needs professional counseling.
Yeah. Thank you.
So बैठो नहीं घर में आराम से. LLM किया है, professional counseling करो.
हाँ, professional counselor. हाँ जी. I know. Thank you.
मैं सोचा आपको बोला. अच्छा. हाँ तो I was doing my duty with the love of it. अच्छा, ठीक है. Go to my YouTube channel called Demonstrative Learning. I do once, 2 days, two times in a month, student interaction. Girls and boys. Student interaction, and it's open air. If you go to websites Demonstrative Learning, your children, girls and boys can register and we'll call them in the session. Thank you. You're welcome.
Okay, I hate to be the party
Any
pooper
other?
here.
Any other question?
I think one last question, yeah.
Because I'm running late now for the Netherlands. Take a mic. Please take a mic.
I saw the documentary or that you introduced Vipassana in prison. That is like
Meditation.
Vipassana meditation in prison. कोई कोयले की खान में हीरे कैसे निकाल सकता है, मैंने वो वहाँ से आपसे सीखा. And that's something which I'm really, really your inspiration, you know. मतलब कोई इतना बुरा prison में आपको डाल दें and then आप वहाँ पे भी जादू create कर दो. That is such a beautiful documentary and I cried watching that. So thank you so much for creating such
इस
magic.
बच्ची ने एक बहुत सुंदर बात बोल दी जो मैं समझती हूँ इससे हम कंक्लूड कर सकते हैं. अपने लिए 15-20 मिनट जरूर निकालो चुप करके बैठने का. Give that your me time.
Right.
Call quiet time.
Right.
Call reflective time. अपने आप को सेल्फ इवैल्यूएशन करो. आज मेरे से क्या हुआ, आज मैं क्या बेटर कर सकती थी, आज मैं कहाँ से कौन सी गाइडेंस ले सकती हूँ, आज मैंने कौन सी स्ट्रेंथ को बढ़ाया और कौन सी चीज़ मैंने अपने आप को कमज़ोर की. आस्क योरसेल्फ, आस्क. ये 15 मिनट 20 मिनट भी बन सकते हैं, आधा घंटा भी बन सकता है. गेट इनटू सेल्फ रिफ्लेक्शन कॉल्ड माइंडफुलनेस. आपने विपश्यना मेडिटेशन का बोला, ये हमारी हर औरत की ताकत होनी चाहिए. इज़ मी टाइम, माइंडफुलनेस, रिफ्लेक्टिव, जो मर्जी इसको बोलो, मेडिटेशन बोलो. इफ़ यू डू दिस रेगुलरली, आपको पता नहीं है आपकी आत्मा आपके साथ बोलेगी. डू यू नो दिस इज हैपेंड. जब आप आंखें बंद करो आप अपने साथ बात करने लगते हो. करते हो? वो कौन है वो जो अंदर आत्मा आपके साथ बात कर रहा है? वो आपकी आत्मा है. मैं सच्ची बता रही हूँ, सॉल्यूशंस मिलेंगे आपको. करके देखो एक्सपेरिमेंट. चुप करके बैठ जाओ और ढूंढो टाइम जब कोई डिस्टर्ब नहीं आपको करे. वो ढूंढना पड़ेगा जिसमें यू विल सी इनर वॉइस स्पीकिंग विद यू एंड यू स्टार्ट कन्वर्सिंग विद दैट वॉइस एंड देयर बी अ डायलॉग. और डायलॉग होते होते आपको सॉल्यूशंस मिलने लगेंगे. मैं माफ़ी चाहती हूँ लेट आने से. ये गुड़गांव का ट्रैफिक और ये शिवरात्रि का अगले साल वो सड़क खराब. और दूसरा ये कि एक्स्ट्रा हम लोगों ने बोला है क्योंकि शायद लगता है आपकी ज़रूरत थी. मैं काश तुम्हारे साथ और समय बिताती और मुझे वो कमिटमेंट ना लेती नेक्स्ट वाला, तो मैं आपके साथ रुकी रहती आपको सुनने के लिए. लेकिन मुझे क्षमा करो. मे बी वी लुक फॉर अनदर टाइम एंड अनदर अपॉर्चुनिटी वेयर देयर बी नथिंग बिफोर एंड नथिंग आफ्टर.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Kiran ma'am, for being such an inspiration. And okay, I know a lot of us. Okay. Okay, we shall continue with our first panel, which is coming up, and we'll be talking about personal development, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Now, personal development intertwines with diversity, equity, and inclusion, especially concerning women's empowerment. Without much ado, let's get into our first panel for the day. To begin with, let me invite the moderator on stage, Anisha Nair Dhawan, and the speakers as well, Advaita Kala, author and writer. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Advaita Kala. Then we have Yogita Bhayana, women activist. Reema Nanavati, Director Self-Employed Women's Association Seva. And Meenakshi Rana, Health and Wellbeing Amway Business Owner. A big round of applause. Over to you, Anisha.
Thank you. I'm sure the hall will get filled up again. And we all heard Kiran ma'am talk about the need for self-care. She also mentioned something about personal development. Post-COVID, all of us have heard a lot about upskilling, and personal development, which is actually adult education, holds the promise to uplift women's emotional intelligence, their purpose, and their social mobility. So in this panel here today, I'm going to try to find out whether this is what these women have experienced, whether personal development actually helps with equity, with the end of discrimination and greater inclusion. So first of all, I want to start with Reema ma'am, since you work with the self-help group, ma'am. When these women who become part of self-help groups, do they get more empowered from where they have come from? Does it help in greater inclusion within their community?
Thank you so much, and I think thanks to Dr. Kiran Bedi, my flight was late, and that gave me an opportunity to be on time. And to come straight to your question, I think coming together. I'm talking about women who are from the informal sector of our economy, and 93% of the workforce is there. And I think coming together allows them to form a bond, build courage, and share their experiences, their stories, their challenges, and together with the collective strength, they are able to solve the problems. And therefore, I see that, coming together also builds the self-confidence of the members of SEWA. And I can say that, with almost 50 years and having 3 million women workers, I see our members having their own bank, which is SEWA Bank, which has a paid-up share capital, all coming from these very members themselves of up to 300 crores. We have our own agribusiness company now, which is SEWA Awardee. We have our green initiative, which is called SEWA Riyali. We also have our own housing finance company, the SEWA Gririn. So I think, there's no looking back. And so I would like to conclude by saying that what we have learned in the last 50 years from our members is that poor do not want charity. All they need is a kind of an nurturing and an enabling environment. And second is that poverty is also a form of violence with the consent of the society. And therefore, I think when poor come together, they are able to face their very many challenges. Thank you.
That's great, and great work being done by SEWA. I'm sure the women who are part of this self-help group are feeling more empowered individually as well. Yogita, we heard Kiran ma'am also say that women are reaching all the echelons of power you can think of. But when it comes to decision-making, laws, we need women there. Do you agree with this? And what difference will it make if women are there in decision-making position? Will they work to, bring equality, bring equity, bring inclusion, or just do what other men are doing?
Absolutely. It is the most important thing, actually. We have seen women doing, farming and doing labor work, and we are now seeing women in corporate world, but we hardly see women in politics and decision-making also. But now, thanks to the new reservation thing which we have been given by our Prime Minister, which is a very good move, that will be the leadership in politics or overall, because politics runs the country, runs the, kind of system. But at the same time, decision-making at home is equally important. Decision-making in the office where you are working is also equally important. So I really had a lot of objection when we say that it's men's world. But however, we are 50%, almost 50% of the population. We hardly see women, when we see parliament or we see other places, we hardly can count handful of women. So that will definitely, gender inclusion is really, really, really topmost important. I'm not saying that, like we should always say, यहाँ ज़्यादा number है या ये. मुझे actually यहाँ ये भी problem है कि when we are talking about women's right or women empowerment, we should include the other gender. Like we should also, like right now we are discussing, there are mostly women here. We should discuss these things in front of men also. We should have both the stakeholders together and discuss, come out with a solution. And I think this is the way forward. Another thing which I really want to share, that because of the kind of work I do, I run this foundation called Pari, People Against Rapes in India. We see a lot of sexual violence. And I know it is not related directly, but it is definitely related, because when we are talking about making decision, talking big things, right now I was with the director of Chandrayaan-3, she's a female. I mean, of course, she made us proud, but at the same time, we need to understand 80% of our population is rural population, and which are not getting that exposure. We need to also, agar unka safety ka issue hai, if they have problem going out from their homes and going to the washroom or clean toilets or going to the fields for, that matter, they don't feel safe and secure. So we need to have balance of, as ma'am also mentioned, poverty ka sabse bada problem hai, and we need to keep that into our minds that when we talk about women empowerment, gender inclusion, we need to also think, for our rural women as well, not only urban women. यहाँ बैठ के बोल लेंगे बहुत अच्छी बात है, but we should have a holistic approach. That would I say.
Thanks for that, Yogita. Advaita, Kiran ma'am also said we don't have to show our strength, but the perception about our strength has to change. How important is this perception for equity, especially in our, in our films, in our books, in our media? Do you think the way women are being perceived or shown has changed, and does that improve equity at all?
Absolutely. I think film in India is very much part of the mainstream. In fact, it's called one of the religions in quotes, in our country. It has an extremely important role when it comes to mainstreaming how women are perceived. I remember with my film Kahani, it was about 10, 11 years ago, when we wrote the film and when we took it out to producers and people like that, there was this resistance, because here was a film that was a thriller, which is a male genre. Then it was a female protagonist-led film, which are always difficult to get greenlit. And on top of that, this was the era of the item song and all of that, objectification of women on cinema. You had a main lead who was a pregnant woman. So how were you going to then sexualize her? Because that was the norm. And I hate to say it, that it still is quite the norm. So it was a huge challenge to get this movie greenlit. And of course, subsequently it was, and it was released, and it did well, and etc. That was the postscript. But during the process of writing it, of trying to get it greenlit, it was hugely problematic. And I think even today, it is a constant fight, because there is a tendency to place women in boxes, especially when it comes to cinema, to create roles for them which are really props in many ways. There are very few films which give women that space.
But hasn't the advent of OTT changed that? Do you think
I was coming to that. Yeah, I was coming to that. The advent of OTT and even television at that time, because even television had a lot of female dominant programming. And there's a reason for that. And the reason for that is financial independence. The thing with cinema is that mostly the expense of buying a ticket and spending on popcorn and Coca-Cola and all of those things are male-driven decisions. Hence, movies predominantly cater to the male gaze. However, when it comes to television and OTT, since you buy a subscription or you have cable TV, it's already easy access, and there isn't an additional expense. You'll find a lot of female-dominated content. And here is where the difference lies. I think we have to move to a point, even today, films, box office, the 300 crore, 400 crores are all male-dominated movies. You don't have female-dominated movies making that kind of money. Be it even Hollywood. For example, Barbie didn't make it to any of the Oscar nods, but the other films did. So there is a bias that exists, and we have to fight it.
All right, bias exists, but you don't think there has been any improvement in equity because of perception?
No, I don't think so. I think it continues to be a fight, and I definitely don't think that we should sit back and say, oh, this is better, because a lot of it is tokenism. And till we're not able to get the same amount of money as men who are directors or writers or actors, and this is a fact, we are not paid the same money.
Yeah, we're not paid the same money, so equality is not happening, and even equity will perhaps take some time. Meenakshi, let me come to you. How do you think we can challenge the gender stereotypes and the norms that have been set so far? Does a good education, a good job, actually challenge this? Because many, like Kiran ma'am said, at your workplaces you're doing great, but still you come back and you face the inequality at home. Does it change anything? Does it change the stereotype?
Yeah, very nice question. Everything starts from home. as Kiran Bedi also told, that our main challenge is not our work, not our profession, it is our home. So I'll take example of my business. We are into what I have seen in my entrepreneurship journey in multi-level marketing. Many times our family think that we are soft target and we cannot take our own decision financially. Suppose I have to start any business and I cannot take that decision myself. Many times when I show business to women, they say that I'll ask my husband and I'll ask my family. She perhaps is spending more in the malls or where she is taking independent decision, but when signing a business, she has to ask from her husband. So we need to change that, and we are educating women. Another thing is, our family, our husband, our relatives don't feel that entrepreneurship or this network marketing business, it's not a serious thing. Okay, it's like a hobby. So if you are doing 9 to 7 job, that is right. You can go out for your job. You can attend meetings from your job. But if you have a conference of your business, then that is a hobby. I know one incident. There was one conference, and that lady was supposed to join that conference, and she was quite educated one. And so her relatives, they planned to come visit her house, and husband was busy with his job. So her husband told that you stay at home and you cancel your conference. I have to go to my office for work. That is more important. So here comes that discrimination and that stereotype that doing business is a hobby work and going to job is a serious thing. We have to break that. And third thing is, as Kiran Bedi was saying, that it doesn't matter how successful we are supposed to do household chores. We are supposed to take care of our family. बच्चों का homework है, घर की need है, वो हमें पूरा करना ही है. I once watched Indra Nui's video. She was saying कि मैं बेशक CEO हूँ, लेकिन जब मैं घर पर आती हूँ तो मेरी मदर इन लॉ बोलती है कि तुम अपना ये क्राउन जो है ना वहीं उतार कर आया करो, यहाँ पर तो तुमको सब वो काम करने हैं. You have to bring home milk also, and you have to take care of us also. So that is the stereotype. So we need to educate our husband. We have to train our husband. I am the lucky one. I got that husband already. But in our team, I educate those women that program your husband or your family that way, that this is a serious thing and your decision matters and you are not dumb. You can take decisions, nice decisions, good decisions financially too.
Reema ma'am, you wanted to add something, but I'll just ask you to be brief because we're running out of time.
No, I just wanted to say that, how does the empowerment process begin for a woman who is always considered as somebody's wife or somebody's daughter or somebody's daughter-in-law? And I think working with 3 million women, anywhere if you go to see, it begins when she starts bringing in hard cash income into the family.
But ma'am, वो भी है ना जो कह रही हैं, आप जितने भी पैसे कमाएं, आपकी husband से कम है, आपकी standing उनसे कम है.
No, not necessarily. It's not always the case when you look at women who are not the haves. I'm talking about the women who still are the have-nots. And when she starts bringing in hard cash income, gradually you would see that, earlier there was so much of resistance for her going out for marketing, for meeting, for training. And 2-3 years down the line, if you go, the same women are sitting in a meeting and the men are serving tea. So I think it's how you earn your decision-making process. And I think that is what, so I think with money, I think one has to work on capacity building, leadership skills and capabilities, managerial skills, and then, market access and asset creation and support services. And when all these things come together, I think 80% of the women, which our sister was saying, for them, that is where the process of empowerment begins.
Quick word, I want to say. ये जो मैम ने प्रोग्रामिंग की बात की, she spoke about programming the family. It is the upskilling which we really need to learn, how to train our families when you are empowered. Like Indra Nooyi ji could not do anything. How do you expect a normal woman, how can she speak against the family? तो programming की एक training होनी चाहिए. I think it should be included in our system.
And the reality is that, in corporate India, women are sliding off the workforce after middle management because they don't have the requisite support. So despite our education, our exposure, even our so-called haves, we're not able to continue with our working life because we don't have that support structure at home.
But I think the answer is कि अड़ जाएं, जो रीमा मैम भी कह रही हैं, पहले कुछ साल आप अड़ जाओ, जब अपनी हैसियत सबको दिखा दोगे तो उनको भी समझ आ जाना चाहिए, आज नहीं तो कल. That's what you can at least hope for, so long as you be determined about where you want to go. Thank you, ladies.
One thing I want to add, that we all are mothers. Many of us are mothers, so we need to train our kids also. My child, he'll celebrate his 10th birthday. तो मैंने उसको बोला है कि 10 skill तुमको सीखनी है जब मैं तुम्हारा 10th year का बर्थडे मनाऊंगी. सबसे पहले तुम्हें चाय बनानी आनी चाहिए. नंबर 2, आपको तुम्हें मशीन में अपने कपड़े वॉश करने आने चाहिए. नंबर 3, तुम्हें कुछ हल्का फुल्का कुक करना आना चाहिए, है ना. तो ये कुछ ऐसी चीज़ें हैं जो तुम्हें सीखनी चाहिए. तो आई थिंक वी ऑल कैन ट्रेन सो दैट हमारे जो नेक्स्ट जनरेशन है वहाँ पर हमको प्रूव ना करना पड़े कि फर्स्ट वी हैव टू शो आवर फैमिली दैट वी आर कैपेबल, वी आर अर्निंग, ओनली देन यू गिव अस दैट इक्वालिटी.
Basically, raise your boys like daughters.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you for sharing your thoughts.
Thank you so much. That was an insightful panel. And without much ado, we'll move on to another very important topic, and that is women in politics. Now, in politics, women face significant hardships and challenges as they strive for representation and leadership roles. Despite progress, deep-rooted gender biases and societal expectations often impede their political careers. Women encounter obstacles such as limited access to resources, funding and networks, hindering their ability to compete effectively. Discriminatory practices, including sexism and gender-based violence, further marginalize women in political spheres. Balancing family responsibilities, as we spoke about, with political duties also adds to another layer of complexity, making it difficult for women to fully engage in politics. Despite these challenges, women persevere, advocating for gender equality and amplifying their voices in political discourse. Their resilience and determination pave the way for more inclusive and representative governance, inspiring future generations of women leaders. For a first fireside chat, let me call upon stage one such very strong voice to come and discuss our topic, Women in Politics, Hardships and Challenges. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Shaina NC. She is a fashion designer, a social worker, and a politician. Also, let me meanwhile invite our moderator, which is Mr. Prasad Sanyal, to please come and join us on stage.
Glad to have you in a minority today.
Yeah, I think my team included me on the stage just as a diversity inclusion. So, Shaina needs no introduction. I'm going to dive right into it because we have We don't have much time, so let me just get into it. From your own journey, professionally as well as in politics, tell us some instances where you think women face more challenges in their careers, in their lives, and how have you sort of worked on overcoming them?
So the list is endless, but I'll try and keep it as brief as I can. And television teaches us how to put across a point in 30 seconds. So let me start by saying that I am probably the only fashion designer turned politician. Or can I say fashion designer and politician, because that coexists, and I always say that fashion is my profession and politics is my passion. So clearly the NC in my name will always stand for non-corruptible. Having said that, I started my career when I was 18, made a lot of name, fame, money in the world of fashion, draping a sari in 54 styles, went on to fight elections when I joined politics. I'm keeping the story as short as possible, so you know from where the journey started. Anyway, I fought elections. I lost the first election, and I remember everyone in the party dismissed me and said, "Ye to sari pehnati hai, isko rajniti ke bare mein kya pata?" Moment that was said, it stuck in my mind as if to say, wait and watch. And the journey started. I've been with the Bharatiya Janata Party 20 years, worked all across, from being the secretary of Mumbai, the spokesperson for the party, then heading to the national executive, national spokesperson, went on to the board of Prasar Bharati, which is All India Radio and Doordarshan, as you know, and the only woman treasurer the party has ever had for 6 years. So there are stereotypes, there are challenges, and yes, moment you come from a world that is even remotely glamorous, there are stereotypes कि ये तो ऐसे ही होगी या ये ऐसे ही है. So to fight those challenges have been one of the biggest hurdles.
There are elections coming up in May, in April, May. I know we will see a lot of you on television, but do we see you in the fray as well?
I would love to have that answer, but there are currently only 2 people who know this answer. Having said that, yes, everyone tries and aspires for elections. The harsh reality is that politics is still a male-dominated space. Having said that, our Prime Minister has really led by example, giving 33% women the opportunity within the party and organizational posts. Otherwise, you wouldn't have women like myself even reaching to a treasurer's post. But Nirmala Sitharaman, great example, finance minister, you've had speakers, but there's a lot more that still needs to happen, and I'm so grateful for 33% reservation, because this question, if you ask in 2029, the answer will be Zaroor, yes, for sure.
So you've been an advocate of the women's reservation bill in all forms, right? Do you think, of course, we've not done enough, but what are some other measures that in the field of politics, parties and governments, both at a state level and at local level, can take to increase and encourage representation from women?
So now, can I be very candid and honest here? It's very hard for women in politics, and I'm not playing the victim card at all. The harsh reality is, yes, if you come from a legacy and a background where you have somebody supporting you, somebody pushing for you, somebody promoting your name, it does help tremendously. A lot of us women have nurtured constituencies too, but I realized the hard way that you're always given a constituency that nobody else wants or that somebody knows is going to be extremely challenging. तो चलो एक महिला को दे दिया या 2 महिला को दे दिया. But the point is, the dynamics have changed because women who have won, if you look at the kind of women who have won in 2019, I started a program on Doordarshan called Netri, Mahila Sansad aur Unki Kahaniyan. And there's such incredible stories. You take a story of a Gomti Sai from Chhattisgarh who had come into a television studio for the first time, and she fought from a jungle, from panchayat to parliament. And you know the beauty of her story? Her husband has not even come to Delhi once to play the so-called kingmaker behind. So there are lots of amazing stories, but is it sufficient? The honest truth is a lot more has to happen, and I'm very hopeful that 33% reservation will be a stepping stone, because once a competent woman is given the opportunity, then she can showcase her talent. Without an opportunity, we can all argue about, oh, we are equal and we must be given equal opportunity. But currently, you have a table full of men sitting at the center table, and you're a vase in the background. We want to be that vase in the center table, sitting on that table. And I'm very hopeful if somebody can do it, it's Prime Minister Modi, because he has not only been popular with women, he has espoused the cause and with empathy taken on so many schemes that have touched the lives of common women.
So leaders are showing the way, definitely. But I'm going back to something you said a bit earlier, to say that if you have somebody mentoring you, if you have a constituency already, then that is something that gives you a stepping stone. Who've been your mentors? How do you look at mentors overall? Are you mentoring people?
Sadly, I haven't had many mentors, otherwise I'd be somewhere else. But having said that, my mentor is my husband. And I have no qualms in saying that if there are successful women in the public space also, you have to have that confident Indian man who you go home to, share your problems with, and who pushes you forward. So a little bit about myself. My mother's a Bora Muslim. My father's a Rajput from Saurashtra, Gujarat, Gondal state. My husband's a Marwari Jain. And I thought that the Hindu-Muslim Jain is the ultimate Indian concoction. Little did I realize, hold the claps, hold the claps. Little did I realize that, you know, what matters more is whether you're a Dhangar, an OBC, a Maratha, a scheduled caste, a scheduled tribe. That is the harsh reality also. So having said that, I always joke around with my husband saying if I was married to a Dalit, a OBC, a scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, I'd probably be a minister by now. And he jokes back and tells me that yes, that is the reason why you have to break that barrier and fight even harder and stay composed and be at it without giving up. And I must tell you that the highs and lows in politics are tremendous. Are there mentors? There are people like the late Arun Jaitley, late Manohar Parrikar, all of whom, Advani ji, who had been instrumental in my initial days. And I would want to tell you one more reality, which is not a cribbing point, but it's something that we women need to think about, which is women never support women. And that's the biggest introspection we need to do every Women's Day. Why is it that women don't support women? Right from your home to your workspace to public life and politics, let's move beyond this crab mentality of bringing each other down. We really need to work as a society and as a vote bank together, because that's the only way we will succeed. Otherwise, we will meet year after year, panel discussion after panel discussion, and go home with different takeaways, some of which we can incorporate in our lives and some not.
On that note, Shaina, on women supporting women, I'm going to wrap up this discussion. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for sharing your insights.
Thank you for sticking to the time span. And one small message for all you women. So I'll just wrap it up by saying, I started my fashion business when I was 18. I got married when I was 23. I had my daughter at 27, joined politics at 30. My son was born at 33. My jewelry business expanded. My fashion business expanded. Politics continued. The only people in the world who can do it, where you work the whole day, you go home, you nurture your chores, you multitask, you triple task, is women. So be proud of that. And that story belongs to not just me, but to every woman here, because genuinely what we do try and make these men sit in our role for one day and they'll have enough of a heart attack brewing.
Thank you so much, Prasad, and thank you so much, Shaina ma'am. So while the setup takes place, we'll move on to our panel number 2. Now, women empowerment and entrepreneurship go hand in hand, offering a pathway for women to achieve economic independence and societal influence. Through entrepreneurship, women can leverage their skills, their talents, and creativity to build successful businesses and to contribute to economic growth. By breaking down barriers and challenging stereotypes, women entrepreneurs inspire others and pave the way for greater gender equality in the workforce and the society. So to begin with, I'll first call the chair, Anisha Nair Dhawan. And now the speakers, we have Vasundhara Chaudhary, youngest Sarpanch, Leela Bali, Rajasthan. A big hand for her. We have Deepthi Rastogi, Group Legal Head and Chief Compliance Officer, PolicyBazaar.com. We have Kamaljeet Kaur, Group CHRO, Blue Smart. And we have Pooja Rajvanshi, Health and Wellbeing, Amway Business Owner.
Thank you, ladies, for being here, and thank you for your patience. We're running a little late, but this is a great platform to learn from your experiences. We have a mix of leaders with us, whether you have your own company or you're at a leadership position in a panchayat or running a department. I'm sure all of us have a lot to learn from you. So let me start with you, Vasundhara. You're a Sarpanch, the youngest Sarpanch we've ever had. When it comes to decision making, how important it is it for women to be right at the top? And how do you ensure that women have access to resources and other things needed to be able to take good decisions? So what is the point of being there and not having the means?
Okay. I think it's on. Just go ahead. Okay. So to answer the first half of your question, you will have to repeat the second half. So when we talk about decision making, I think the main problem or the main difficulty that women face is having self-confidence. The need to get validation, majorly from their male counterparts, is seen. To talk about resources that can be available to women, I think they already have that. They have that cognitive ability to make a sound decision. But how well it is received by the audience, that's one part, and how it is communicated to the audience is also very, very important. I know this sounds very basic, but then that's where we are stuck. And that's why also if you look at panchayat systems, even if you have female sarpanches or female up-sarpanches, they will always have their husbands trying to influence their decision or make decisions for them.
So that's what I'm saying. You said that you have the resources, but where do you find the will to be able to say what you have to without influence?
I think it comes from self-belief. It's a two-way process, and since women are not really accepted by the society, it's a fact. So their decisions are also not accepted. So it's I don't want to say it, but it's a two-way process. So we also need to work on the mental set of the people too.
Right. Deepthi, I want to come to you. I want your feedback to try to understand that do women entrepreneurs, are they better off when it comes to equity versus women who are salaried, even though they may be head of departments, etc. But when it comes to equity, the place where you start with, are women entrepreneurs better off?
See, there's no direct answer to it, to be very honest, because both the roles are quite challenging. So when we talk about entrepreneurship, it's more about taking responsibility. So now women entrepreneur could be of two kinds. When I was thinking about this topic, it could be a pulled entrepreneurship or could be a pushed entrepreneurship. So when we talk about the pushed entrepreneurship, it's basically because, there are challenges with regard to, finding a job. A woman is being pushed to do a self-entrepreneur kind of a thing. There could be challenges around finances. A woman is pushed to do some kind of a job. Pulled one is a one where a woman is quite ambitious. She has her dreams. She go for it, and therefore it could be more equitable there. But when we talk about the women working in a corporate, there are many policies which are basically supporting women. So I think the corporate women are much more equitable vis-a-vis the ones who are actually doing their own entrepreneurship. Yeah.
Want to come to you, Kamaljeet. We had a comment in the previous session saying women don't support women. Now, I disagree with that. I want to understand what is your experience in Blue Smart. Can women help women and, feel better about themselves, be more empowered?
Thank you for asking this question, Vinisha. Being a part of Blue Smart and being in a leadership position, and Mrs. Bedi said if you are in HR, and I am actually leading the people function for Blue Smart, I feel that I'm very privileged, and not only me, but the founders, Anmol, the entire leadership team, is very fond and very personally looking at this agenda where we need to support, and we are supporting women. And I think Mrs. Bedi set the stage for haves and have-nots. I'm going to give you examples of what we are doing at Blue Smart, and we start with the have-nots. Very pleased to share that, we are, Blue Smart is one of the largest ride-hailing services. And we have our women driver partners. We're close to about 100 women driver partners right now. And, we have institutionalized a project Sakhi, which is aiming to have more than 1,000 women partners, across, the hubs we have. So coming to your point, I think we are taking a lot of initiatives to support women. And who are these women partners on the have-nots? They are women who've not worked outside. They've actually breaking the stereotypes and shackles of, men driving, So imagine a scenario where, a lot of them come out of their first stereotype, coming out and actually opting for driving. So that's the first
But why
step.
is that, Kamaljeet? Is it a push factor or a pull factor, what Diti was talking about,
So
when these women drivers come?
Yeah, so let me give you some demographics. A lot of women partners, when we analyzed who are these, where do they come from, what's their age, you will be very surprised. I think they start from around 25 years. We have equal diversity amongst ages. And a lot of them actually pursue because they feel that they want to do something more. So it is not a push, but it's also doing something. We're talking about empowerment. And when we actually do a lot of visits and talk to them, what does empowerment mean? From their language and what we understand, it's about, being power and control of your own life. I think they get a sense of participation in decision making. They get a sense of participation in a lot of financial decisions. They have young kids. They are becoming role models. They say कि हमारे बच्चे हमें बहुत अच्छी तरह, they feel very proud कि, their mothers are driving out, so working out. So, and when you said women support women, absolutely yes. We are going out of way to do a lot of skill enhancement. A lot of women are probably driving for the first time. They may have license, but they do not have the skills. So we are ensuring that they get those skills.
We are in training as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Let me come to you, Pooja. Entrepreneurship is risky business. You can succeed or you can fail. Do you think a woman's social standing as an entrepreneur, if she fails, will change her social standing, and if she succeeds, that too changes her social standing? Is that an important decision for entrepreneurs?
Yeah, thank you for the question. It is a very interesting and very contradictory, because again the question is, the change matters to you or not? Because if that particular change matters your mindset, then that is going to be a success or a failure for you. Because whenever you initiate for anything, that initiation itself is a success. And whatever you are going to do for it, that definitely requires some kind of consistency, persistency, your hard work, your dedication. And maybe the sector which you have chosen may not be suiting you well, but it doesn't mean that you don't have that skill set. So important is how much impact you are having on yourself and how much you are making the environment to create it on yourself, because it all depends on you, how much impact you want on yourself and how much you yourself want to stop by your own mindset. Because see, today, nowadays, many people use filters for their own selfies. What does the filter do? It actually corrects your image, or it hides the spots which are actually hampering your good image. So I think we need to have those filters on our mind also. Because if you have right filters in your mind, you can actually filter those statements which are pulling you back. Secondly, which was earlier also said by Shaina ma'am also, Antarik Lingvad, that is internalized sexism, which is done by a female to a female. That is the main culprit, I think, due to which the failures actually could not stand again. Because it is not always men. Females actually are hampering the success of other females, and if something is wrong done to me, why not other females can stand with me and they can say, yes, we are with you. So I think that is more important. Yeah.
All right, your filters, your own filters are very important. Vasundhara, everybody believes, and it is, data shows that if we have more women entrepreneurs who are creating jobs, the economy benefits. How does the society benefit when there are women who create jobs, who build businesses, or who are in decision-making bodies or positions? How does the society benefit?
Well, the answer is quite simple. Like, the society benefits also because it's upliftment at the very basic, and also it's helping your GDP. But even at like a basic single unit household also, it first is like you're setting examples for the girls who are growing up. Second, you're setting examples for the boys who have like mothers who are also entrepreneurs. So you're also making like a social change with it. And we've had like women who have been entrepreneurs, even at a very small single household unit too. So that has been happening. I think it opens up doors to like be better at being individuals and being families also.
Deepti, in a corporate culture, Kiran ma'am was like, your jobs are going well. It's your homes that need the work. Do you think all's going well in the job space as well? Do women feel safe enough now to come out and work, or even speak their minds without fearing repercussions?
The policies that the corporates are now sharing, correct? It's very, very helpful. The second point is that it's up to the women to basically decide that what she wants from the corporate, correct? We have seen that people are sometimes very, very comfortable in the positions where they are. They're not aspiring. But if you're actually aspiring something and you think that it's not coming to you, there is no harm in asking it out from the management. So I think the policies are quite neutral. It's up to us to basically ask for it. And yeah, that's about it.
Right. Want to come to you, Pooja. Do you think women are, when they're entrepreneurs, they have equal access to opportunities, to resources? And why I ask is, sometimes, like Kiran ma'am also said, your house needs fixing, but that's something you can't escape. You have your responsibilities. To some extent, you'll have to deliver them. And sometimes that takes away from the opportunities you have at work. Let me give an example. Say you have to go for a networking event in the evenings, but you have your child's homework to do, you have other responsibilities to fulfill. Your husband will not think twice, he will not bat an eyelid, and he'll go, and nobody will ever question him. But do women then lose out, and do they then need extra incentives, extra benefits that some governments do give because they miss out somewhere else?
See, in 2024, I don't think incentives will work, because it is just a kind of excuse which maybe we are trying to show. Like, if I'm not able to go to any event or something, I can at least watch it on YouTube, or I can have it online. But I think, or maybe we can more work on the culture of these kinds of events. We can have it in morning times, maybe afternoon times. So either we have to work for it, because incentive is a kind of word which we should be given when we work or we try for it. But giving incentives on this aspect is not more justifiable to me, although yes, we should have some kind of things which are definitely required by the people who are actually in need of it. Because some sectors are there where the ratio of the female contribution is very limited. Definitely in those sectors we can increase by giving them the incentives. But where the ratio is high, where the opportunities are more, giving incentives won't give you that actual result. Secondly, how you will be analyzed, like how many people, how many females are actually in need of that, or they are utilizing it in a right way. So I think rather than giving incentives or categorizing the incentives to the right portion of the sector in which they are working. Secondly, we can work on these kind of things, like how those events can be conducted so that it can maybe be productive to the females or to actuals who are actually interested in attending these.
Right. So we're completely out of time, but I'll do one poll for everyone here. Just raise your hands if you agree. Do you agree women need incentives, be it tax incentives, be it special interest rates for credit? How many of you believe that women need incentives, especially if you're an entrepreneur, versus those who feel ki no incentives, we don't need crutches? Those who feel we need incentives, raise your hands. Okay. I think many women here feel that we don't need crutches to succeed. Thank you, ladies. Thank you for coming here and putting in your thoughts for everybody to take in. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anisha, I would request you to stay back. And now we'll move on to holistic approaches to health and wellness. Now, these are needed to prioritize the interconnectedness of the mind, body, and spirit, recognizing that optimal well-being encompasses physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual dimensions. These approaches emphasize preventive care, lifestyle modifications, and personalized interventions tailored to individual needs. So to discuss this topic, I would invite my next panel. I think we'll just give the setup team a minute to set up the table. Okay, so let's invite our panel now. We have speaker one, that is Urvashi Prasad, Director Niti Aayog. Please put your hand together for Urvashi Prasad. We have Dr. Prerna Kohli, who's a clinical psychologist. She's also a social worker and an author. Then we have Priyanka Raina, founder Mate Gracia Raina Foundation. And we have the last but not the least, finally we have a man here on the podium as a speaker, Dr. Rahul Manchanda, Senior Consultant and Head, Gynae Endoscopy Division, PSRI Hospital. Ladies, a big round of applause for everybody. And Pooja Avasthi, Health and Wellbeing Amway Business Owner. Off to you, Anisha.
Thank you. And we'll get started right away because we are running very behind time. Urvashi ma'am, let me start with you. The government is doing a lot for women's health, but when it comes to the government program under the National Health Mission, most of it is centered around women in the reproductive ages and childcare. What happens to women when they get out of the reproductive age? Do they just fall off the map? Is the health not important then?
Yeah, so to answer quickly because I know you're short on time. So I think undoubtedly a lot of the programs till date have focused more on the health of women as it relates to their childbearing and child rearing roles, and I think that points to a broader societal issue. And I'm sure other panelists will talk about that. But I think now we have tried to make, and we're trying to make a conscious shift away from that to look at women's health and well-being much more holistically. Which means especially focusing on preventive healthcare, so the primary healthcare aspect, strengthening that, strengthening screening for common illnesses, and that also includes cancers, obviously, like breast cancer and cervical cancer, and mental health. I think that is the third pillar that we're really trying to integrate, because mental health affects women of different ages, of different socioeconomic backgrounds, in different ways. Those issues impact those women in very different ways. So we're also trying to come up with a disaggregated strategy so that we can cater to women in all these age groups.
Right. Prerna ma'am, since Urvashi ma'am spoke of mental health, let me come to you on this. What can women do to themselves, help themselves? Kiran ma'am said ki take the time for self-care. But what about rest? We don't even get rest. Self-care to baad ki baat hai. So what are the holistic approaches so that our well-being is improved? What can women turn to?
So I want to tell you on the onset, the statistics very clearly show that 1 out of 5 women, in comparison to 1 out of 8 men, suffer from mental health issues. And I think it is about prioritizing yourself. It is also about time management. We have to actually ask for it. When you ask, you get it. Otherwise, you're taken for granted. So for self-care, which is so important, we can look at meditation, which is actually breathing, and focused breathing and imagery. When you have this kind of concentration, we'll be able to, for example, be able to do our multitask things that we have around. Because women have so much on their mind. The mind is overworking, taking them to different dimensions of their life. Self-care becomes very important because just remember that being a mother, which the women takes very seriously, is just one dimension of your life. Being a daughter, being a sister, being a friend, being that entrepreneur is just one dimension of your life. It's not the whole. The whole becomes when you start taking care. Journaling really helps. When I say journaling, journaling helps. You are putting your thoughts there. You're reflecting. You're introspecting. You might not have a friend at hand, but you have a diary at hand to write what you feel. So you won't get bottled up, and you won't feel that toxicity. And I would tell, when you journal, have an attitude of gratitude. Focus on the presence of things than the absence of things. And when we start looking at life from the lens of gratitude, the obstacles, the hindrance all go away. We start seeing potential. We start seeing possibilities. And our lens changes towards guidance, towards inspiration, and towards a lot of wisdom. Another thing is very, very important you could do is mindfulness. Mindfulness is being just aware. And I'll give you a small example. I wake up very early because I have a whole day. I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, I'm a daughter-in-law, etc., etc. So I have to manage my time well. And I'm very, very fiercely protective about my self-care. Not because I'm a clinical psychologist and I should be in the best of health, but I think I should be in the best of health because I'm a human being and I deserve it. Very clearly, when I'm sitting in the clinic, I tell them that this is not a female psychologist, this is just a psychologist. So this is also very clear about setting your boundaries of how you're perceived. So that is also a part of self-care. So when I say mindfulness, if I'm having my cup of tea, say a ginger cup of tea, right? So I have to involve all my senses. Involving your senses is about mindfulness, about being self-aware. I can see the sunrise. I can hear the birds are chirping. I can taste the ginger in my tea. and I can also feel the grass
warmth,
under my
right.
feet.
So, Prerna ma'am, you've given us great tips: mindfulness, connecting with nature, gratitude, journaling, breathing with imagery. Lots of things that we can do to take care of our
Ourselves.
mental health. Dr. Rahul, we have to thank you for coming here. You're the better halves of most women who are not here. But we are very, very grateful to have your views on, what matters to women and women's health. So I want to come to you. The government is doing its bit. So many n number of programs. Now employers and companies also want to show, we also care, so we have executive checks. Do you think that goes a long way for the cause of women's health, or would they be better served with creches, with proper maternity leave, with a counselor? What works well for women's holistic health?
Okay, first of all, I would have liked to see more men here. I think all of us, next time when you do this, don't forget, bring your brothers, bring your husbands, bring your parents.
फिर हम गालियां कैसे देंगे सबके
हाँ
सामने?
जी?
आदमियों को गालियां कैसे देंगे सबके
See how
सामने?
things have changed, how men
No,
are feeling
I'll
today
tell you-
like we
I'll
used to
tell
feel
you,
once upon a time. So this
I'll
is a
tell
great
you.
place for all of
हम
us.
कैसे बोलूं कि वो प्रोजेक्ट है जिसमें हम काम कर रहे हैं?
I'll tell you a funny story before I answer your question. I do a lot of health awareness camps and lectures for women. And I was doing one at a certain place, and this lady walks up to me and say that, can I bring my husband with me? Because it's a women's talk, so you sort of don't. I said, please, he's the one who should be here to know how to and what to do and how to, Anyway, coming back to what you said, I think it's a mix, and I also qualify to be here because I come from a women-centric family. That means my mother was divorced. She brought up two male children. I have a family which has 2 daughters, and I have a wife. So I'm outnumbered completely. Besides being in the profession where I'm privileged to work with the ladies. So it should be, I think, an amalgamation of everything. You can't have only health or only support at the office. You need to help in all areas. And it's only when you give them that support, that understanding, will you be able to, all of you said you don't need creches. You said, when you took the poll, you said, do you feel that women need this? I don't think they need it, because biologically speaking, if I have a male baby and I have a female baby, being a gynecologist, and this is scientifically and biologically proven, and both are stressed the same, I'm fearful of losing the male baby and not the female baby. I know the female baby will survive, yet the male might not survive. So biologically, it is proven. So you don't need it, but I think it's important to provide that support for them so that they can, it's like giving reservation in order to just support a little bit, give a kickstart, but they don't need it. So in all spheres, yes.
So can you please then say it clearly? Biologically, it is proven that women are the stronger sex. Can you please complete that?
Okay, I'll say it again, and but I don't need to say it. It's proven. If I have, when I'm delivering a baby, and I know there's a baby that's compromised or has fetal distress, and I know it's either a male baby or a female baby, when it gets delivered, I know the female, I'm not worried, she will survive. The male, I'm more worried about. This is what I've been doing this now for 35 years. So that is the truth. And you will ask any obstetrician, they will say the same. So that is the truth.
All right. But being politically correct about it.
No politically correct. I've also said that I've been against the ladies who said, all you ladies who said you don't need it. You don't need it, but I think it's important to have it so that you kickstart and you set certain basic ground rules, which are important.
All right, Priyanka, you're an entrepreneur, you have 2 little kids, and we were just chatting before this panel. So how do you, get the access to the well-being, your holistic health? Do you put yourself first? Or when it comes to health, do you think women always prioritize it last? What's your experience? Since you run a company, a foundation, you have kids, what's your experience? What do you do?
You know, how we grew up is seeing our moms and our grandmoms just putting themselves last. That's been the story of most of the households, and that's how we all grew up. And when I became a mother myself, there were so many unknowns. I had no idea what's happening with my body, why I'm going through so many changes. And I come from a privileged background where I have access to so much information and everything, and still, it was such a surprise for me. And when I got this care from my mom, it was also such a tailor-made care of 45 days, you have to be at home, you have to do blah, blah, because that's the kind of care she got from her mother. So I started digging deeper into this, like what is the background, how women need to be more educated, how we need to provide this information, and that is when I started my foundation. Now, coming to it, through my foundation, we do a lot of educational campaigns for women about their reproductive health. When we were doing these campaigns around reproductive health, we figured it needs to start way before. So we introduced a campaign, a program which is about adolescent health, because it needs to start when your body starts changing. And that is the access I did not have, because our families did not speak openly about it, all the changes we are going through, physically, emotionally, or mentally. And this education is very, very important. It starts from home. We need to start talking to our young girls about everything they are going to experience in a short span of time, because they are going to be entering puberty or adolescence. And that is where, you know, we need to really focus, and we need to start that very early, because knowing your body at every stage, women's body is full of mysteries, full of complexities, I would say, and goes through a lot of phases, which is the adolescence, reproductive phase, menopause, and beyond. And every phase has its own set of challenges and health issues. So it's very important to know it, acknowledge it, and focus on yourself first, because if you're not healthy, you're not happy, you're not going to be taking care of your family, and you're not going to be raising a happy family. So speak up for yourself, choose your battles, stand up for yourself. It all starts from you. Information is out there, policies out there, medical services there, everything is there. But first you need to acknowledge it, you need to stand up for yourself, and then you can access everything.
Right. Pooja, we're completely out of time, so I'm going to ask you to be a little brief. How do you think, you know, the way society, families look at women and their needs, do you think it becomes tougher for them to access holistic care for themselves, be it, you know, even mental health, or even, you know, go visit a doctor? Just the way society looks at you, you know, start to think, do I have the courage to do this?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And I think I just want to start by saying that, you know, women, we need to understand that we are our own saviors and our own heroes, right? So in case there are any issues, and generally it does happen with women, because we are so busy looking after other people. We are, you know, we are multitaskers. We kind of wear that badge with pride. You know, we like to do a lot of things. We like to nurture a lot of people around us. And you know, that stereotypical women image is something that we grew up with, and somewhere down the line, even if you're not thinking about it consciously, subconsciously, somewhere down the line, it is there, very deeply ingrained in our brains. So I think very, very important, you know, when you talk about women, whether they feel any societal, you know, pressures or something like that, of course, at every given point of time. You know, when I talk about mental health, and when somebody spoke about mental health, you know, there are a lot of times, or even emotional health for that matter. You know, when you're working the whole day, you come back home, and I've seen that happen to a lot of women, you know. They work from, you know, 9 o'clock to about 6 o'clock, they come back home, whoever is looking after their kids, they feel it's my time off now, the ladies of the house is back and she can do the job, right? So, of course, there is an extra pressure. So there are emotional issues as well. So very important to have a group of friends that you can chat with, you know, journaling is a very, very good idea, or even going for therapy, so that you can actually come out of that situation, which is actually going to harm you in the longer run. And I think educating people that it's okay to have mental health issues, it's okay to have emotional issues. You know, they're not hush-hush. It's not like a physical thing, you know. कि अगर कोई बीमारी है तो वो नज़र आती है, आपको वो ट्रीटमेंट कराना ही कराना है. मेंटल इश्यूज एंड इमोशनल इश्यूज हम बहुत टाइम तक कारपेट के नीचे डालते रहते हैं जब तक वो बहुत बड़ा नहीं हो जाता. बट व्हाई वेट फॉर दैट? Why wait for that thing to happen? Right? So that is one thing. And I would just want to say some unrealistic expectations at times that we have from ourselves, you know. I think it's not about competing with anyone else. If you see a slimmer person and say, I wish I had that body, that kind of a body, I think it's getting better from who you were to today. So not really competing with somebody becomes very, very important. And I think another very, prominent thing that came out in this entire thing, that women don't support women. Okay, given, we all understand that. But how are we going to make a difference there? Are we going to change that a little bit? So maybe on a daily basis, why not compliment someone? And don't compliment just because they are powerful or they're doing well, but just compliment them so that, they just feel nice about it. And you'll feel very nice about it, right? So self-esteem, self-love, all these things play a very important role in your complete holistic wellness. And having said that, the last thing I want to talk about is physical health. Like Priyanka also just said, we women, we go through very unique problems, right? Very, very unique nutritional needs that we have. There are lots of stages that we go through. Please ensure that the right nutrition is something that you're taking. And if there are any gaps, you're actually filling up those gaps, because they make an incredible amount of difference, those gaps that are there in your health. So what if a woman has low hemoglobin and she's irritable the whole day? It's not going to be productive to a happiness or kind of, a happy household. So very, very important there as well.
All right, I'm going to thank everyone. Sorry, sir, we're completely out of time.
Wear your own oxygen mask, as they say in the airplane, before you
help others.
And take care of your health. Like Dr. Bedi said, that if you're not healthy, nobody's going to look after you or take care. So keep that as your priority number one.
Right. Big thank you to all our panelists here. And Indra Nui's mother said, जो ताज पहनती हो उतार के आना घर. I think one thing that I want to tell everyone, वो ताज कभी नहीं उतारना है. You are forever queens. When you look in that mirror, you're good enough. You'll always be worth it. You'll always be a queen. I'm sorry, we don't have time for questions. Okay. Just take it up with the speakers on a one-on-one basis. Okay. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you so much for the lovely panel. So now we're at the last leg of the summit, to the last fireside chat. Now, while building their businesses, women often juggle multiple roles, including caretaker, entrepreneur, and community leader. Finding harmony between professional and personal commitments requires a lot of things, from effective time management, setting boundaries, to prioritizing self-care. Now, I know we have discussed a lot about it, but now we'll be calling upon an entrepreneur to discuss women in entrepreneurship, balancing work and life. Let us invite on stage Swati Bhargava, co-founder of Cashkaro, and Anisha Nair to chair the conversation.
Thank you, Swati. Thank you for your patience. Swati is the co-founder of Cashkaro, and she is, of course, going to talk to us about how she finds balance in life. Swati, tell us about your journey, and tell me who got the idea for Cashkaro, and how did you, hit the nail on the head when it came to what really works with Indians, especially when their savings and discounting is concerned.
Thank you so much, and thank you to all of you for being a great audience. I know सब कुछ बहुत late हो रहा है आज, so everyone is like, running behind schedule, but I guess we're all sort of hanging in there for each other. So thank you so much for that. I'll just give you a quick background as well before we go into my business. So I grew up in a small town called Ambala, and I was there until my class 10. And then I know some of you are nodding, so Ambala ki ladki hai stage pe, yes, because Ambala is a pretty small town. I got a scholarship after that to study in Singapore, so I did my 11th and 12th there, then a scholarship to the London School of Economics. After studying there, I worked at Goldman Sachs in investment banking for 5 years. So रोज सुबह 8 बजे से रात को 12 बजे तक, we used to keep working all the time. And then I met my husband Rohan. We, got married. We started our business in the UK. We expanded it to India, launched Cashkaro. And we felt that, in India, the product market fit for Cashkaro should be good. So it's basically a cashback app. I'm sure आप Amazon, Flipkart, Myntra, Nykaa सब पे shop करते हैं. तो आप Cashkaro से जाके shop करेंगे तो you get extra cashback from our side. सारे shopping के ऊपर. And it's real cash. You can transfer it all to your bank or to your gift cards. So, we felt that in India this idea will do well because everybody likes saving money here.
किसका idea था? आपका था कि आपके husband का था?
Well, मेरा और रोहन दोनों का ही था because we started our business together. So just because I'm in this conference, I can't take the credit. It was both of us. And over the course of these 10 years that we've been running the business, we have about 23 million users now. We drive about 4,500 crores of sales every year. We've raised, until Series C funding capital. So Mr. Ratan Tata is one of our investors, Kalari Capital, Affle, and I have led all the fundraise. So I can't even say that as a woman I wasn't able to raise money. We've raised about 250 crores in funding so far. And during this whole journey, I have, when I was in LSE, I got diagnosed with a kidney problem. And then over the last 20 years, my kidney function was coming down. So last year, in fact, we were raising money, and at the same time, I was pretty much operating at like 4-5% kidney function with 5.5 hemoglobin. And, we still raised money. I was going for all the pitches. I was doing everything. We raised 130 crores. So I can't even say that.
How did you humanly do that?
Yeah. So how did I do that? I think we are very strong in our minds, men and women both. And जब हमें पता होता है कि कुछ करना है, हम उसमें effort लगा के कर देते हैं. Nothing can stop us. So at that time, I remember there were times when I was going to the hospital for checkups, I was going for pitches. I would go like this to the hospital also, get my whatever needed and come out. And people would be like, you just came back from the hospital. I'm like, yeah, it's okay. So I think our mind is very powerful, and जो हम अपने आप को बोलते हैं, वो believe भी करता है. So I believe in having a good morning routine, having, like some people said on the panel before, affirmations, yoga, just the positive thought and positive self-talk, and believing that it's possible, having faith. I've always believed that the universe has my back. So I knew that, okay, the fundraise is happening. So we announced it on 4th November. 6th November, I checked into the hospital. 10th, I came, my surgery happened. A week I was there. 4 days later, back home, started work from home. So, it all happens.
But I want to know from you, you said that positive self-talk is important. When you are going through a crisis, it's so easy to feel sorry for yourself.
Yeah.
How did you manage not to do that? And does the support or the love of your husband also perhaps motivate you to go on?
It makes a lot of difference. At no point ever in these 20 years have I asked God, why me? Why me? Because I always say that, I have been so blessed with so many things. जब मैंने उनके लिए नहीं पूछा why me, then why am I asking for this? It's just not fair, right? We have to count our blessings. We have to be grateful for what we have and focus on what we have versus what we don't. So that has always been my mantra, and therefore I've never really thought कि, in fact, I believe कि, I'm glad कि ये problem है जो मुझे बता के आई है, and I could do something about it, versus I know there are so many people, unfortunately, where things happen out of the blue. So I've always been grateful that, it's okay. And during this period also, I was very transparent with my team, with my investors, with my friends and family. My husband Rohan was my biggest support. And, we did everything together, and everyone, I feel like they kind of wrapped me with love, that I, had their support while I was doing it. And, ho gaya sab kuch achhi tarah.
So how important is it that you run the company with your husband? Do you bring your work fights back home? How does it work?
Yeah, well, I mean, both ways it works. With and without husband, I'm sure you all have experience of both as well. In my case, this is my first entrepreneurship journey, and 10 saal se Rohan and I have been working together. We've been married for almost 15 years. So, and we don't have kids. But, you know, we don't bring work fights home, but I don't think the work goes outside our home either. हमारे bedroom में वो line नहीं है कि यहाँ पे हम काम की बात नहीं कर सकते. And I think that's because हमने वो खुद line draw नहीं करी. कई लोग कर भी लेते हैं, but we feel quite okay, you know, कि अगर let's say if Rohan comes back home like, oh, I really need to discuss आज जो वो हुआ था, what were you trying to say? Or like, what did that person mean? So it's okay, but you know, if I see that he's tired, then I'll also try and not do it. And if he similarly sees that, you know, I'm really not in the mood, then he won't do it. But then very often he jokes, you want to plan Maldives? We can do a product roadmap on the beach. I'm like, are you kidding me? So ऐसे करके sometimes, you know, he used to say, then we both have learned कि when are we comfortable, when are we not. So it works, yeah.
तो प्लीज़ अपनी ट्रेड सीक्रेट बता दीजिए, आपने ये ट्यूनिंग इतनी फाइन ट्यूनिंग कैसे की है, क्योंकि बहुत सारे लोग रेजोनेट कर रहे हैं कि हमारे घर पे प्रोजेक्ट है जिसको हमें ट्रेन करना है. प्लीज़ टेल अस हाउ यू डन दिस.
I think the fine tuning का एक ही secret है, which is to drop the ego. And both Rohan and I don't really have egos with each other. We respect each other's view. And I think जो हमारी domains हैं, वो भी हमने clearly नहीं बांटी हैं, but हमें पता है कि कौन किस चीज़ में ज़्यादा अच्छा है. तो अगर कुछ tech related है, तो अगर Rohan is saying, I've done the research, I know this is how it should be, I'll be like, fine. Because I know that he's better at it than I am. But if we are doing something with investor relations, with media, with social media, PR, whatever, I'll be like, no, this is my domain, this is how I want to do it. So he'll be like, हाँ ठीक है. So we both respect the fact that the other person is an expert in what they do, and we let them do that. And that's how I think it's a combination of respect and not letting your ego come in, thinking about business के लिए क्या अच्छा है वो कर लेते हैं. And that's it.
Right. And what are the tips that you would like to give budding female entrepreneurs? Should they, you know, take the plunge with high hopes and positivity, or should they be nervous, or should they take baby steps into whatever they do?
Well, nervousness के साथ तो I wouldn't say start anything, but you know, I will say though that entrepreneurship is a lot more work than it looks. And many of us only see the glam side of it, right? हमें दिखता है कि oh, like I'm very active on my Instagram. I'm at Swati DB. I post a lot, so people say, oh, we love every day you're ready, you're wearing a nice outfit, and I'm like, you don't know, वो आपको सिर्फ आधा घंटा दिखता है, जो बाकी 12 घंटे मैं काम करती हूँ वो किसी को नहीं दिखता. तो इसलिए if you do start your business, be passionate and have good conviction about what you're doing. It's fair enough कि ज़्यादा conviction नहीं हो सकता before you actually do it. I mean, at the end of the day, you've not done it. How can you be super convinced? But still, अपने mind में थोड़ा conviction होना चाहिए, because it will test you again and again. It will test you when things are not working out, when you're not able to raise money, when your team decides to leave you. So many things will happen. And at that point, the will to carry on and to say, doesn't matter, I will still carry on. वो बहुत ज़रूरी है entrepreneur के लिए, और वो तभी आ सकता है अगर अंदर से आपके अंदर वो चाहा तो उस आइडिया को एग्जीक्यूट करने की, या फिर बिलीफ हो कि हाँ ये चलेगा. So start with that belief. And then of course, positive is entrepreneur second name. So you need to be positive for sure, inside and outside.
Thank you so much, Swati, for coming here and sharing your life lessons and your tips. And we wish you all the very best.
Thank you so much. Thank you for staying back.
Thank you so much, ladies. Now, as Women's Day Summit draws to a close, let us carry forth the spirit of empowerment and unity that has resonated throughout our discussions. Together, we have ignited sparks of change and forged pathways towards a more inclusive and equitable world for all. Let our collective commitment to gender equality continue to fuel our actions beyond the summit, inspiring tangible progress in every corner of the society. May the voices and the achievements of women celebrated here today serve as catalysts for lasting impact and for transformation. सृष्टि नहीं नारी बिना यही जगत आधार, नारी के हर रूप की महिमा बड़ी अपार. On this note, ladies and gentlemen, this is Divya signing off. Have a lovely evening. Goodbye and thank you.